What's going on, YouTube peeps? Welcome back to another guide, this time of the Disciple of the Phoenix and current 3rd rank S-ranker Valkyrie of Shixal, Sushang, the Jade Knight. Being the newest S-ranker to the game, and a support primarily as well, she spices up the competition in her own unique manner. In this video, we'll be covering Jade Knight's design and playstyle and how to get the most value out of her kit, possible builds with her with both weapons and Stigmata, her rank ups, possible team comps, and a gameplay showcase. The footage used in this video is from the version 6.1 beta server, and any additional findings can be found in the pinned comment down below. So be sure to check that out and leave a comment yourself. With all that out of the way, let's dive right into Sushang. Sushang, the 3rd S-rank Valkyrie of Shixal. To kick things off, let's first discuss how to actually acquire Sushang. She is indeed pullable from the gacha banners, however you can easily farm her within War Treasury just like Fallen Rosemary and Miss Pink Elf through purchasing her card for Ancient Willpower and Legacy, and then slow farming her frags all the way up to Triple S. With that out of the way, let's discuss Jade Knight's kit. As a gauntlet battlesuit, Jade Knight's method of attacking is similar to Fuhua's and Carol's in that she can perform different attacks whether she presses attack or ult, which I will be referring to as A and B respectively for the remainder of this video. Jade Knight's 4-sequence basic attack string Cutting Form sees Sushang swinging her sword 4 times, consecutively dealing increasing ice damage, with the 1st and 4th sequence varying based on whether you press A or B. For first form, pressing A swings her sword, whereas pressing B launches 3 swords forward. For 4th form, Sushang gains Iron Body in which she cannot be stunned. Pressing A swings her sword forward, launching a short blade beam. Pressing B instead has Sushang move backwards and stab with a large blade. Pressing A or B during 4th form, opposite to the input it was executed with initially, lets Sushang immediately follow up back into her 3rd form in which she gains Iron Body as well. During 4th form, she gains 50% damage reduction and also restores. Now let's talk about Sushang's passive a little bit earlier than we normally would. Her passive, Arming Sanction, grants Sushang a Blade Sanction meter that caps at 200. At full meter, Sushang's combo attack activates Sword Array mode in which her meter decreases passively over time by 5 Blade Sanction per second. When it reaches 0, Sword Array mode ends. In addition, Sushang gains 20 meter whenever basics hit. Now, Sushang's combo attack Refining Ascension allows her to cast Wild Swords and activate Sword Array mode. This cannot be used if Sushang does not have full meter. In this mode, Sushang stands on a flying sword and has a different moveset completely. Wild Swords generates a ton of swords that stab into the ground and deal damage while also pulling enemies toward the center during cast. Pressing A generates 6 swords that fly from Sushang and hone in on nearby targets. Pressing B lets Sushang rush the enemy with the sword she's standing on to deal damage at the cost of 20 meter. After casting this 3 times, pressing A casts Backwind Slash, which deals combo damage specifically, restores 20 SP on hit, and increases ranged ice damage in non-burst mode for the team by 40% for 10 seconds. Backwind Slash can also be cast off-field when a team member casts a weapon skill or deals damage with combo or charge attack. This version of Backwind Slash, however, will not generate SP, but it will grant all the other effects stated previously. Pressing Dodge lets Sushang blink between swords. Holding A during Sword Array mode casts Heart Piercer, in which Sushang congregates all the swords behind her and rushes the enemy all at once. This skill is one of Sushang's only ways of causing Global Time Fracture, which lasts for 3 seconds and also ends Sword Array mode. Additionally, Sushang is also capable of switching out during this sword animation, similar to Carol during her ultimate. Now, for 150 SP, Sushang's ultimate, Crowning Eminence, casts a giant sword from the sky capable of splitting the world apart that makes Zhongli's ultimate look like a child's toy meatball. This skill grants Elemental Breach to all ice damage dealers to increase the breach of all their basics, charge combo attacks, and burst mode attacks by 14% for 18 seconds. In addition, Sushang can consume up to 25 extra SP to deal additional damage and increase the ice damage from team members from basics, charged combo attacks, and burst mode attacks for 18 seconds. During her ultimate, Sushang also becomes invincible and pauses all stage and skill timers as well. Moving on to her ultimate evasion, Guiding Mantra, costing 1 of 2 charges, Sushang restores 200 HP when activated and also 60 meter when out of Sword Array mode. Sushang can also connect to her 4th form from Dodge. When in Sword Array mode, if her ultimate evasion is available and she gets hit, Sushang will auto-cast it, block the attack and move to another sword, or cast Cloud Cutter and move to another sword. A passive listed here also states that if her initial SP is below 120, it is increased to 120. However, this is only when she's initiating combat, despite it saying when she's in battle. Her leader skill states that she increases ice damage battlesuits within the team's basics, combos, and charge attacks total damage by 10%. Additionally, if every member in the team is an ice damage dealer, they deal 24% more ice damage. Finally, her QTE is triggered when an ultimate is damaged by a teammate's combo or charge attack, or if a teammate casts their ultimate. Switching Jade Knight in casts Wild Swords with Blade Sanction fully recovered, and Sword Array mode is activated. The switched out character's switch cooldown is also shortened to 4 seconds. Upon entry, Wild Swords cause Time Fracture for 3 seconds and deal 60% more ice damage. This is Sushang's main way of causing Time Fracture and also gaining meter. Now for her playstyle and typical damage rotation. Typically, Sushang will be swapping in with QTE and will auto-activate Sword Array. If you have Sushang's weapon, press Weapon Active and activate Backwind Slash immediately. If you don't, press B 3 times to proc Backwind Slash and cast it. Follow up with her ultimate to grant Elemental Breach. Afterwards, cast Heart Piercer and swap off during her animation. When short on SP, alternate between 3rd and 4th form basic attacks, as you will need up to 175 SP to maximize the effect from her ultimate. Patch 6.1 adds in new weapons and Stigmata sets as well. One set of gear is primarily aimed towards Sushang, while the other is aimed towards bringing Hersha of Reason into modern relevance with style. Her gauntlets, Nocturnal Stealth, are the premier gauntlets for Jade Knight. Casting Weapon Active activates a large wave that deals damage and forms a line of Torrent for 25 seconds. While the Torrent is on the field, it produces a wave each time a target takes damage, dealing damage up to 5 waves. While equipped on Sushang, if she casts this in Sword Array, she can immediately follow up with Backwind Slash. After using Weapon Active, the team deals 20% more ice damage for 22 seconds, and Jade Knight recovers 12 SP each time a Torrent produces a wave. The primer of this weapon also increases ice damage dealt by combo attacks and increases the total damage of the team by 10%. For her Stigmata set, Li Sushang Shenzhou Reminiscence, this is of course the premier set for Jade Knight. The T piece increases total damage, and dealing damage with combo attacks increases the team's ice damage dealt. The M piece decreases total damage taken and increases ice damage dealt by basics and combo attacks significantly. The B piece lets the wielder enter reinforcement state for 18 seconds after using at least 120 or 150 SP at once. While in this state, ice damage from the team increases by 30% and 50% respectively. Additionally, while in this state, the 2-piece adds 1 stack of Menacing Sword Key to targets for 18 seconds when the team deals ice damage up to a maximum of 10 stacks, and each stack increasing ice damage taken by targets by 1%. When equipped on Jade Knight, however, the max stacks is increased by 12, and if the B piece is equipped, QTE can activate reinforcement equivalent to spending 150 SP. The 3 piece increases the max stacks to 15, not counting the additional 12 gained from being equipped on Sushang, and enemies affected by these stacks take an additional percentage of ice damage every second. This bonus also increases the team's shield breaking efficiency by 50%. For captains that may not be able to get these items, here are some budget and free-to-play alternatives for you all. On the weapon side, your main alternative is Cosmic Duality and Nebulous Duality. In addition, if you don't have this, I would recommend Jade Gloom for the total damage multiplier for the team. As for the Stigmata sets, the signature set is very crucial for her as alternatives are significantly weaker. If you don't have at least TB of her signature, your best alternative is Turg TB, PPM. After that, take Irene TB, Oslog TB, JST TM and Shez B, or Margrave TB PPM, or even Candy T PPM Nuke B. There aren't really any support options lower than that, so if you don't have this gear and can't craft it yet, it's best to just run some low tier damage gear. Let's talk affixes now. Newer players, you guys can skip ahead to the next part of the video, as affixes are something that should not be focusing on until the very end of the game. As for her affixes, we're looking for a good mixture of attack boosting and SP boosting. You don't want any SP reduction, as that will hurt the team's damage output despite being able to activate ultimates slightly earlier. I would personally recommend at least 1 line of SP per second, with the rest being either Psychic or Gauntlet attack up. As with each new Valkyrie that comes out, that's not an SP Valkyrie, they become subject to the new rank up system that's more akin to the Constellation system from Genshin Impact. However, these rank ups don't necessarily always follow a similar structure similar to that game. But what we can expect is S1 being a skill damage increase, S2 being either a damage buff or an SP regen buff, S3 being a leader skill buff, double S buffing damage or SP regen depending on S2, double S1 buffing damage, double S2 being a quality of life buff, double S3 being another leader skill buff, and triple S being a very large damage buff. More often than not, this holds true. For Sushang, it's slightly different, but her rank ups are really good for her mainly at double S and triple S. Her S1 raises the level cap of Chase Light, her S2 halves the cost of Bolt Slash and also triggers Cloud Cutter, S3 is her leader skill buff, her double S0 is a huge buff for her, as her ult does more damage and breaks shields easier, lets teammates break shields even easier, and Backwind Slash also shoots 3 giant swords and restores SP. It also additionally raises the skill cap of Ceaseless. For S1, sees her combo attack and Heart Piercer increase the ice damage of basic attacks, combo and charge attacks, and burst attacks from the team. S2 raises the skill level cap of Attain Taishuan. S3 is her final leader skill buff, and her S is her biggest buff of all, in which Heart Piercer deals extra damage to fixed damage shields, i.e. hit count shields similar to Griseo, and also raises the skill level of Hone Oneself. With that out of the way, let's move on to possible team comps for her. As the newest ice support added to the game, Sushang does what she does best, which is to make ice damage stonks go up. Ice coin to the moon! In most ice team comps, she replaces Haxor Bunny for much larger damage boosting. However, for Nyx, she replaces AE as the source of Elemental Breach, as Haxor Bunny is really good for Nyx for extending her slashes during her burst mode. For all other teams, pair her with Partiphelus instead. Now, let's showcase some of the gameplay. I'll be showing off gameplay with Elysia, Silverwing, Hershey Reason, and Nyx as DPS. I'll be using her signature gear as well to demonstrate a full flow of Sushang's power. Additionally, Sushang will be at S0 during the showcase, but she'll get immensely better with rank ups. Without further ado, let's cue that music and get right into the gameplay. And so that's about it. So what exactly are my thoughts on Sushang? I think she's a fantastic ice support that continues to buff the game and bring a lot of value to teams even more. She completely replaces Azure Imperia in pretty much every single She replaces Azure Imperia in pretty much every scenario where you would use her in Ice Team comps, while also replacing Haxor Bunny in every other scenario where you would use her. I think she's very valuable for the game, and if you want to get her, you're better off actively saving your currency and buying her from the War Treasury shop, but definitely go for her gear no matter what, as options without her gear are a bit copium. With that being said and done, thank you guys for watching. I hope all you Sushang wanners become Sushang havers, especially for the gear, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, friends.